I go to bed at night and I dream about the garden and what's going to happen the next day. I dream about what plants are growing and what plants I could grow. I dream about how to make the garden more secret, more magical. It's like painting. It's like painting with flowers. It's like this massive creativity, except it's all growing and it's all real and it's all moving, and that's what's so magical about gardening. My name's Nyla. I've lived here in the edge of Bath for 7 years with my husband Paul and my daughter Skye. When we first arrived at the garden, there were loads of shrubs, loads of overgrown shrubs, and there was a big huge laurel tree, there was a really beautiful magnolia tree and a beautiful lilac tree, and there was also the layout of what looked like a garden that somebody had once loved. Aside from all that, there was lots of bindweeds, there was lots of Spanish bluebells growing everywhere, and it was very overgrown. At that point, we had no experience of gardening at all. The first thing that I did was I got some cottage garden books. I wasn't sure what plants to use, what trees to use. Any book that had cottage garden in the title was good for me. One of the first plants we put in the garden was the Paul Scarlet hawthorn tree. We got it really to add a bit of privacy to our garden and also colour. It's got beautiful bright pink flowers in May. One of the other things we did at the same time was to add a yew hedge all along this wall, because behind it is a grey breeze block wall, which doesn't look very nice, so we wanted a green backdrop, and then we also wanted to add some height for some more privacy. When I was a little girl, I used to read lots of Beatrix Potter books. It was quite a modern estate we lived on, so I'd always dreamed of having this kind of traditional, magical kind of garden that was overflowing with flowers and little paths, little windy paths. I wanted to be lost in a magical place. My early plant selections were very random. Yeah, I would go to the garden centre and I would see something that I liked the look of and I would just get it. I didn't think about how it would complement something else. Eventually, I learned it was better to make the planting more cohesive. One of the things that I've used throughout the border is the alliums, the purple allium Christophii, which is that round ball shape. So if I repeat that throughout the border, I've realised that adds a bit of rhythm. So I've tried to add successional planting. Michaelmas daisies are staggered throughout the border. They flower much later at the end of summer, so when everything else is going over, I've got these purple and pink Michaelmas daisies. I've tried to add some grasses as well. Grasses will go kind of golden in autumn time, and that adds some movement, and they're also kind of late summer interest as well. After having the garden for a few years, we started to really get a handle on how to grow things after we grew our own wedding flowers. But we still had all of our other hobbies, you know, like sporty things like cycling and things. In 2017, I fell very ill with an autoimmune disease. Couldn't do all the hobbies I used to do. I could walk from one end of the garden to the other, and I just did what I could do. We've got a shelter at the end of the garden, and the sun shines on it from 3 p.m. onwards. All I could do was lie down a lot of the time. So I'd go and lie in the shelter, and I'd feel the sun on my back, and I'd look at the plants, and I'd look at the bees. And it was, yeah, just that if I hadn't had that, I don't know what I would have done. My health is much better now. I can get on my bike, I can walk, I'm back at work. But now gardening's in me, I can't stop. Here we've got a wigwam, which is in the lawn, and I've combined purple sweet peas with purple French beans. I like to grow vegetables with the flowers at the same time, because I think it adds interest. If you grow some plants near the vegetables that attract beneficial insects, such as fennel, fennel can attract insects that will reduce the number of aphids in your garden, for example, so that's what I like to do. Paul has got a shade bit of the garden that he's put lots of ferns in. It's quite a long border in the shade, and he's managed to put lots of different types of ferns in there and lots of Japanese forest grass and hostas, so it's just his foliage garden. That's lovely. That's his style of garden. That's really cool. It's just not really for me. It's, yeah, my type of garden is just loads and loads of flowers, loads of different plants. Yeah, that's more my thing, lots of colour. Our daughter Sky was born in 2020. And she's beginning to explore the garden now. She absolutely loves coming outside. In fact, outside was one of the first words that I think she started to understand. So we'd hold up to the window and she would see the garden and she'd get excited. She loves to explore, she loves to pull the flower heads off, and she loves to eat the strawberries. So I can tell, yeah, she definitely got green fingers. There. Mummy, break it in half? Yeah, there you go. The garden means an incredible amount to our whole family now. It's something that is just a part of our life. I spend more time out in the garden than I do in the house. In fact, I view the garden as the place that I live. The house is just somewhere I go when I'm cold. I feel like I have managed to create the cottage garden of my dreams.